Naked's what I call my way of cooking. What I cook in the restaurant isn't what I cook at home. Cooking's got to be a laugh. It's got to be simple, it's got to be tasty, it's got to be fun. I suppose you could say it's stripping down the recipe to its bare essentials. No way, it's not meat, it's food. Can you believe it? I've got the in-laws coming round, and especially the mother-in-law. Hence the tablecloth and napkins. Actually, it's not a tablecloth I have, you know. It's a duvet cover. So it's Mum, Dad, Mrs. Norton, and Lisa, Juliet's sister, who's head bridesmaid. So, you know, it's just a matter of having a good old convo, good night. And at the same time, you know, we're getting married. We want to throw a nice little dinner party, you know, because we're not kids anymore. We're proper adults. Dad's kind of double chuffed because not only am I getting married, but because Juliet's dad died about 2 years ago, she kind of wanted to ask someone to give her away that she sort of thought of as a dad. And it's slightly odd, but she's asked my dad to give her away. But I suppose it's because she looks at him as sort of second father, really. So it's he's all a bit sort of doubly choked about it, and that should be cool. So hopefully get this sorted, get the table done, got some simple food to do, and should be a nice day. I'm not stressed at all. I'm going to do a real cunning kind of dessert, yeah? Because, like, you know when the pressure's on, you've got, like, the potential mother-in-law to come round, and you just want to get, like, a job in the bag, yeah? I'm going to make a sorbet, homemade sorbet, nothing better, really, really tasty. And it's all based around, like, a sugar syrup, yeah? Sounds a bit posh, but it's just simple as, really. What you need is equal quantities of sugar and water to make a syrup, yeah? All I do is fill up, like, a half-pint glass with sugar, right? So, look. That's about 200 grams of sugar, yeah? And then the same of water, so equal quantities. So it's probably pretty perfect for about, sort of, you know, 4 or 5 people. So basically I'll whack this on the gas, bring it to boil, let it boil for about 3 minutes, yeah, and it all goes lovely and clear, then just turn it off and it's done. That's your sort of sugar syrup, easy peasy. This one is going to be passion fruit and Campari, which is, I don't know, I think it's quite a stylish combination, I'd like to think. For this recipe, I need 15 passion fruit, yeah? When people buy it, they kind of go for passion fruit that look like that. That is perfectly formed and shiny and sort of hard as, yeah? It's actually not very ripe. The really, really pucker passion fruits, yeah, are the ones that are wrinkly as. And then you know that inside is going to be like really, really sort of dark orange, sweet, sort of like tropical. So that's what you're looking for. What I want to do is just cut them in half, and then you kind of expose all those lovely sort of seeds and stuff.
Do you get on well with your prospective mother-in-law then?
So I get... Yeah, I do. I get on really well. I remember when I first started going out with Jules, it was like, you know, I'd kind of go around there for the first date and you get the kind of like 101 questions. Where'd you come from? What do you do? How do you do it? You know, and all that kind of malarkey. I suppose the funny thing is like, I'm not nervous about tonight, but like, you can never lower the guard to the mother-in-law. Do you know what I mean? You've always got to make the good impression, you know. You got to try and prove to her that you're worthy of her daughter, really, isn't it? So what you need to do is scrape everything out of these little passion fruit, yeah? And, like, I mean everything. There you go. Right, so all the guts are out of here, yeah? And the thing is that the passion fruit, if you look at these seeds now, every seed is, like, coated in, like, a jacket of, like, sort of gorgeous tropical flavour. And what we need to do is kind of whisk it up a bit, just to loosen it all, really. Get all the juice off it. This syrup has been boiling for about 3 minutes, yeah? Basically, I want to let that cool down a little bit. And, you know, you're supposed to let it cool down to fridge temperature, but I've got to get on with it, and, you know, it doesn't seem to do any harm, so it's fine. The next thing you want to do, when you've done that a little bit, is just whack that into here, yeah? And then stir it about a little bit. And that's, you know...
You don't want to cook the passion fruit?
No, you don't want to cook it. And that's probably why it's probably slightly better if I put it into a cold syrup, because you're not actually making that fruitiness go jammy. But it still tastes really good. I'm cheating a little bit. So I've got some Campari, yeah? For this recipe, I need a wine glass, I think, just to taste, really. You know, you don't want to get everyone absolutely lagged on Campari. So just to... that's absolutely fantastic. Any more than that and you'll get that massive kind of alcohol punch around the head kind of thing, and that's pretty perfect. So what I'm going to do now, I want to pass just over half of this into that bowl, and I want to lose some of the pips, because even though I like to see quite a few pips, yeah, but if you have all of them in there, like you're just crunching all the time, but every now and again a little crunch is beautiful. So I pour that into there and through like a sieve. Just do this, yeah, just run it through the sieve. And if you do it for like a minute or two, you'll see all that lovely goodness come off the black seeds and go through the sieve.
What other flavours of sorbet could you make?
Oh, mate, I mean, the whole idea is like, from that syrup, you can go any vibe you like. You can do it with apples, you can do it with pears, you can do it with peaches, you can do it with grapefruits, you can do it with lemons. You can do it with anything. You can do absolutely... Some people do like weird and unusual stuff, like instead of using fruit, they use tea. They do like an infusion of like green tea, and they put maybe chop little bits of like juicy fresh thyme tips in there and all sorts of weird stuff. Just remember, like, the simple ones are best, and things like the passion fruit and Campari are like, you know, good combo. Do you know what I mean? Right. So that looks beautiful, and just you can see all that lovely like thick stuff. Just with your finger, run it under here, and throw those pips away, and pour these ones in. So, right now, what I'm going to do is freeze it, and there is a little trick. Put one of these in the freezer like an hour or two before, and it means it gets really, really cold and stays cold. So I put this kind of, well, it's about lukewarm now, this sorbet, and I just pour it in there and whack it in the freezer. But the trick is, like, you can put this in and just let it freeze and it will be reasonably soft and lovely. But if you want to make it really, really good and light, what you need to do is just about an hour into the freezing, when it goes quite firm, you get your old fork, yeah, and you just kind of wah, 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 and what you'll see is that really dense kind of orange colour goes slightly paler, and that's because you put air into it. And obviously if you've got a bit of air in it, then it's like, when it melts on your tongue, it's like quite sexy. So let's just get this in the freezer without spilling it. Oh, I've got to get a bigger freezer. So, beautiful, mate. Recipe in the bag, easy peasy. Bit of booze in there, everyone gets a bit slinky, and nice one. So I'm going to do this extra veg dish, right, to go with my fish course. And to be honest with you, I don't really need it, but because I've got the older, the folks coming around, they do like them two veg, and I didn't want to kind of shortchange them. But it's a fantastic recipe with fennel. Fennel's brilliant, you know. So I've grabbed 3 nice bulbs from the market, yeah, but you can get it in the supermarket as well. These are big fat ones. All I do is take these stalks off here, like that, yeah, on all of them, and you can chuck those away, but keep these lovely herby bits, because they do taste fantastic and they look nice as well. Fennel goes fantastically well with fish, but at the same time, it's kind of weird because it does go with like lamb or pork or chicken as well. I mean, it's pretty much an all-rounder, so it's pretty lucky that way. I think the key is, because fennel's got, it's kind of like an aniseedy kind of fresh sort of taste, and if you cook it, roast it, fry it, boil it, do whatever, a little bit of butter, olive oil, a bit of seasoning, you're laughing really. So you don't want to complicate things too much. You don't want to cover it with, mask it with sort of other flavours. So what I want to do is, you can cut, well, to be completely honest with you, you can cut it any way you like, but I like to do it a specific way. And I cut them about ½ centimetre thick, yeah? But look at that, I mean, that's just, to me, that's just like, well, sexy, do you know what I mean? It's just the little bit of root that's really edible, just holds it all together, so. And I'll just chuck that in the old dish. And then with the herbs, kind of chop all that up. They're lovely taste as well. Some people chuck them away, but it's absolute madness. Flavour-wise, I'm going to put a bit of garlic with that, chopped up, just as a sort of background sort of flavour, really. So, right, when that's finely chopped, yeah, just put that in there and just push it in between. Basically, I want to get some salt and pepper on there, a nice pinch of salt and pepper. They need a good season, right? And just kind of like scrunch it up, mix it up, get it all in and amongst each other, right? And then I need some butter for that, yeah? And I'm just going to have about 1/4 of a pack, sort of unwind it. And you just want little knobs, put them everywhere really, just slice them up. Ooh. Sort of in and around. Beautiful. Right? So you could put that in the oven and it will bake and it will be lovely. It'll be kind of golden on top. Nice. But I want to kind of bring it all together, yeah? And you need a little bit of moisture for that, and so you might as well make the moisture reasonably tasty. So I've got some vermouth, yeah, and I need about 2 glasses of that.
More booze.
More booze, yeah. More booze, mate. They're gonna be laggard by the end of this meal. People all over the place. But you can use white wine and you could use a bit of water, you know, whatever you want, really. But the thing is, what's gonna happen now is it's gonna bake, and that whole butter, salt, pepper, garlic thing is gonna be like just sort of mingling. And then, you know what butter's like with like wine and stuff, it makes its own little sauce, doesn't it? And it's just beautiful. So I could pop that in the oven now and it would be beautiful, but what I'm going to do is get a bit of greaseproof paper, scrunch it up and put it under the tap, yeah? Get it wet, and it makes it go all soggy, yeah? And you think, oh, what do you want to do that for? But what you do is you kind of do that and you can tuck it in. And it's almost like tucking it in for bed. You go, no, no, mate, you know, get in there, have a nice sleep, and like you can put it down all the sides, and if you imagine that cooking now, because it's only thin paper, it's still going to bake a little bit on top, right? But all the steam's going to come up, and instead of just cooking to nothing and having dry vegetables, it's going to turn into condensation, fall back down again, be tasty as, mate. So it's beautiful. So bake it in the oven for about half an hour, 40 minutes, about 220, 230. Hey, listen, tell you what I forgot. Beautiful. I've got the sorbet, yeah? And that's had about an hour-ish, right? And I've got a fork, and if you look at it, it's quite soft, yeah? Like, almost sort of stiff soft, yeah? So what that tells us is if I whip it now with the old fork, it's going to go all nice and airy. So this is the point now when we can get some air into it and make it even lighter and more delicate than it is already.
Lovely colour.
Beautiful colour, mate. I quite like a shirt, that colour. With a pair of flares. Right, so see that? It looks like it's got bigger in size, and it's gone paler, and that's because there's air in there, yeah? Well, Jules?
Yeah?
Can you get the door, please, darling?
Yeah. Ah! What are you doing here?
Hello, Jules.
I'm cleaning. Come in. Jane, your mum and dad are here.
What? They're having the laugh, aren't they? Mum and Dad have just turned up. They're only about 4 or 5 hours early.
No, we're early.
What are you lot doing here?
Hey!
Big boy.
You're premature, Tel. What's going on?
We're going shopping up the West End.
Well, can I have a lift into town?
Yeah, sure.
Beautiful. This is a great recipe. It's got just about everything, really. I mean, to me, it's the perfect recipe because, like, you know, I want to show off tonight. I want it to look good. It's one of those perfect recipes that just kind of, you know, how it tastes and looks to how much work I have to do is brilliant, you know? So what I've got is I've got some lentils on here, yeah? Just poi lentils, yeah? Cheap as chips. They were dried, straight into boiling water, no salt. I haven't put any sort of herbs or any fragrant things in there, just boiling it to cook, quite simply.
Why don't you put salt in them?
Well, because if you put salt in, it makes the skins of the lentils go hard and they're not a pleasure to eat. So, good little thing, babe. What I've got is 6 lovely salmon fillets from the old fishmonger. And what I did was I asked for a fillet of salmon of a big fish, because I like the big fat, you know, you can get the little thin ones, but I always like to see them slice it in front of me, you know, it's like well fresh then. I've got some lovely lemon thyme in my garden, not my garden, yes, my big garden, my window box, mate. And you can use normal thyme, it's fine. But I think the lovely thing about having a window box is like you buy these cheap as old chips kind of herbs from the garden centre, and lemon thyme is something you can't buy in the supermarket, and it tastes amazing. It's just beautiful, do you know what I mean? It just tastes so nice. So I'm going to give it a little wash, yeah? What I'm going to do is just pick off the tips and get rid of the woody bit. Don't have to muck about too much. And then I'm going to bash it in the old pestle and mortar with a nice pinch of salt. So it's slightly abrasive, and that's probably enough salt to season the fish a little anyway. Not too much because you've got the Parma ham, so you don't want it too salty. And just give it a right good old pounding. This is like the best bit of cooking for me, do you know what I mean? I mean, I've got my pestle and mortar, I've got my fresh herbs, and I'm done, mate. You know, this is what I like about cooking. Right, so I just got a green mush now, yeah? And I just want to add enough olive oil to turn this pounded up thyme into like a flavoured oil, like kind of like a rub, yeah? And just pour that over your fish, yeah? Make sure you get everything out of the old pestle, and just use your fingers to kind of very gently rub that flavoured oil over the fish. And when the fish cooks, the first thing it's going to do is go, thank you very much. Bit of thyme and olive oil. Good on you, mate. So just a little bit of pepper, not too much. and I'll get the old Parma ham, yeah? And I went to the deli, and I got it sliced, nice and thinly, yeah? And I just, as always, I said, you know, can I taste it, please? And just to make sure, I mean, look at that, it's fantastic. It's got nice white little fat, and that'll go so crispy. And you just want to lay it over the fish and kind of wrap it underneath, yeah? By doing this, because it's quite salty and slightly smoky, even though it's not smoked, it will infuse its flavour into the fish, which is beautiful. It will also go really crispy, which is lovely, because you've got the crispy Parma ham, and then you've got that really soft fish. But also, it kind of protects the fish, so you don't sort of overcook it. So I just put 2 or 3 slices of Parma ham over, and that sort of does the trick, really. Right, that is beautiful, and that is basically done. We've just, that can sit in the fridge, do you know what I mean? If you want to do it in the night, you know, you can do it for 10 people, 2 people, it's easy peasy. I just put a little bit of olive oil just over the top, just to help that skin go really crispy. And that's it, mate, happy days, easy peasy. Whack it in the oven. I'll put it in the hottest oven, about 230, 240, for about 5 to 10 minutes, depending on how thick your old steaks are. But let's check. These probably won't be done, actually. So let's have a look here.
Those are your lentils?
Yeah, these are my lentils. Blimey hell, they're cooked. What I want to do is, once they're cooked, and they're soft and they're a pleasure to eat, you want to get rid of most of the water. Just keep, like, sort of 6 or 7 tablespoons of water in there. And while they're still hot, on like sponges, yeah, I just put good fresh olive oil. Just enough to loosen it, really. So let's have a little look here. Yeah, lovely. So that's all nice and shiny. Right, so we have to work quite quick while it's hot, yeah? I want probably about 1½ lemons, yeah? So let's get a knife. Almost dressing it like a salad. It's exactly the same. Salt, pepper, olive oil, lemon juice. A good pinch of salt, I guess that much. A good bit of pepper. And I've got some nice bits and pieces from Barry the Boy, from the market, yeah? I've got some nice parsley, I've got some purple basil, which is you can get now, and some green basil, and I've got some baby spinach, which is fantastic, because you can have it raw in salads, yeah? But in this, it's blinding, you just put a really nice big handful. And the thing is, because the lentils are still, like, boiling hot, yeah, because I've worked quite quickly, the residual heat in the lentils kind of wilts the spinach, which is fantastic. So basically, you can see it's wilted already. Give that 30 seconds. And then what I'm going to do is just chop up. I just want to chop a little bit, really. I'll put that back. Chop a little bit of that. Just as a little, just enhance the flavour. But some parsley, just to sort of freshen it up. You could have one of those, or a mixture of. And just whop that in now. And the spinach is pretty much completely wilted now. And I'm just going to put the lid on top. Perfectly cooked, so I'm well chuffed with that. And the last thing I'm going to do is... which for me just pulls it all together. I've got some good old bio yoghurt, mate. It's good for you. This is like the mint sauce of the lamb, do you know what I mean? This is like the best bit. And what I need to do is season it with a little salt and a little pepper. Yeah, so a good pinch of salt, little pepper, and all of a sudden, like it tastes. It's gone beyond sort of breakfast to sort of slightly savoury, not horrible savoury, but really nice and refreshing savoury, right? And let's have a little taste. Blinding. That are over the salmon, prosciutto, the lentils and the spinach, just like melts, goes in and amongst everything, freshens it up. So,
Jamie, your mum and dad's back again.
You what? So I'm going to make like a pasta dish for starter, and it's really nice. It's with clams. Dad's doing the clams, and I'm going to get some pancetta, which is like a cured sort of streaky bacon type thing from Italy. And I got this from the supermarket, so it's like everywhere now.
So what have you done with your mum?
Mum? I've sold her to Barry. Got some free vegetables. Nah, we've... Jules and Mum have gone off to pick up Mrs Norton and Lisa. And me and Tel are going to get all the final touches. Jules has been cleaning like the troopers today. And so we're pretty much ready and raring to go, really. So... what I'm doing is I'm just kind of separating this pancetta into like little pieces. Well, you could use streaky bacon, just as good, but pancetta, it's nice and thin, and it's the Italian stuff. I think they do it better, to be honest.
Do they have beards, those clams, like mussels?
No, they don't have beards like mussels. They basically you're just washing them off to get rid of the grit and sorting out the open clams because they would be dead, and you certainly wouldn't want to eat those.
So what I'm going to do, yeah, is I've got a nice big pan on. to get hot, real hot, yeah? And I've got a pan of water. Dad, can you pass some salt, me old mate, for the pasta? And that, you want a nice little pinch of that for the pasta, otherwise it will taste horrible. Woo! And then, can you pass that olive oil, Dad? Cheers, matey. I'm just going to put a little bit of oil in there just to get it going, otherwise it will stick. And I've just kind of pulled the pancetta apart a little bit. And it's nice and smoky, you know? And it's sliced nice and thin. I want to fry it off till it's crispy and golden, yeah? But Dad,
Yeah.
could you do us about 2 cloves of garlic? Just peel them and finely slice. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Are you hoping to get some advice from your dad then about married life, Jamie?
Yeah, I could do with some. Always open to suggestion.
I can remember, you know, sort of when my wife Sally and I got married, and similar sort of thing, you know, sort of 20 odd years ago, you know, with our parents. And my father's always pretty good with advice, and he always warned me off marrying anyone with long fingernails because.
Is that your dad?
Yeah. he said, never marry anyone with long fingernails, son. He said, because for sure you're never going to get any work out of them. So, you know, before I took girls home, I always had to look at their fingernails, you know. So Sally come along and I think he thought she
long
was...
fingernails, mate.
No, she had short fingernails because she bit her fingernail. But I think he thought she was a workaholic, so she got the she got the green light.
Fantastic. I've got this pasta, yeah, which is real nice pasta. I've got 500 grams of it, plenty of starter. That'll be enough for us 6. Just going to whack that in there. And that needs about 6 minutes to cook. Maybe a bit less, see how it goes. Basically, like, that looks pretty sexy now and crispy. And Dad, can you chuck your garlic in there, me old mate? Right, so now the garlic looks like pretty, just nice and golden. And I thought, oh, Dad, can you open some wine, mate? Sorry, I forgot. And I just move them about. I've got some chilli, yeah? Just whack that in there. But 1 chilli, nice. I just need a bit of wine to stop it colouring anymore. Go on, Dad.
Come on.
About 2 glasses, I reckon. Dad, could you get us some parsley, me old mate?
Parsley? It's in the fridge.
Just a little bit in the fridge, yeah. So anyway, basically, this is nearly done, right? But there's one little trick with regards to the parsley. So I had a similar dish to this without the pancetta when I was in Italy once, and it was so tasty. And what they'd done is they'd started off at the stalk end and they'd finely chopped the stalk, which is unbelievably sweet when you cook it, yeah? And quite fragrant as well. And as they got towards the leaf area, then they started hacking it and making it look chunky. And, you know, little things like that, like having the little bit of stalk in that makes it even sweeter. It's like blinding. Right, that's perfect. I'll turn that off now, and it just tastes like really, yeah, just tastes really natural. Nice, isn't it?
Beautiful.
So have you got that colander? Yeah, nice one. Yeah. So, this is linguine, and it's pretty, you could use spaghetti. Spaghetti's lovely, but I think linguine's nice. Kind of clings onto a little bit more juice. Basically, oh, I've got a little trick here. Now, all these clams have opened up. Instead of just dumping your pasta on and mixing it all up and all the kind of meat falls out the shells and you end up with a load of shells, a load of meat and a load of juice, what you do is just shake the shells to one end, and then as the liquid rolls back, then you've got an area where it's just juice, yeah? And that's pucker, you know, you like the juice. So, get some good olive oil, like nice, good stuff. Right, so it's a little bit peppery. Just put that in there, because that makes it all taste nice. And then get the pasta and put it in at the end where there's no shells, yeah? I've tasted it. It doesn't need any salt at all, but it might need a little bit of pepper. So just a little bit. And that's it, basically. Just kind of mix it up in all that lovely juice. And, you know, get it in the juice so it's all coated and shiny and gorgeous.
That's right, because if you do stir it up, you lose all the meat out of the shells.
Yeah,
so it's a
and
good
then
idea.
you defeat the object.
Yeah.
And then get the old parsley, the whole lot, just whop it in there and just toss it over, and then you can start to mix it up. So that's brilliant. So basically, we're all done. Looks lovely, doesn't it?
Beautiful colours.
And it smells fantastic. Let's just put a lid on that for a couple of secs. Let's clear up and get ready for those girls.